money, I'm starting to think just for their votes. This here just got everything to do with voting. That's what I'm looking at. I need somebody to question and answer the question. Is it really that? I'm just asking.
And then two, and a couple of areas where there's national attention on Seattle. You had weighed in on January 1st, the day before the official swearing in, about some of the things going on outside small run daycare centers. Along those lines, we asked anyone to follow up on the fraud claims either to the Department of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs or SB.
This whole issue is not really about fraud, right? It's about dividing and conquering. It's about making an immigrant community a target, right?
ID pointed out went to Aisha Home Child Care in Kent, Washington. She got inside. If this could potentially be a legitimate daycare business, why is the government giving them so much money, even if they were a legitimate daycare business? I mean, just look at the first figure. $268,460 since July of 2025. If we're being generous for two kids, that's $22,371 per child. What daycare makes this kind of money per kid in 1 month?
So we are back in the state of Washington because the same mistakes that wrecked Minnesota are starting to show up again in Washington State. We are returning to Seattle because Katie Wilson is not just brushing off the concerns, she's doubling down. Doubling down on that same dumb logic. Same excuses, the same don't ask questions mindset that allowed fraud to grow unchecked in Minnesota to the point of, well, you see what's going on in Minnesota. You see how that already ended. Audits were ignored, whistleblowers were sidelined, and millions, potential billions, are gone. And Congress is now stepping in after it is probably too late. So when we talk about this leadership in Washington saying that this isn't really about fraud, that they're not going to investigate, refuse to investigate, that's not compassion. It's basically deja vu. Because once the federal government gets involved, there's not going to be a gentle fix to all this. There will be cuts, there will be shutdowns, and the people who get hurt are never the politicians. So we're going to watch this news story because it kind of symbolizes the fact that this is going to be the same issue that's going to happen in Washington that already happened in Minnesota. Let's get into it.
Developing right now, the Office of the Washington Auditor says it is finalizing it. Developing right now, the Office of the Washington State Auditor says it is finalizing an audit of the program that provides federal and state funds to subsidize child care in Washington. Good evening. I'm Molly Shen.
And I'm Preston Phillips. This is part of an annual statewide audit that's scheduled for release in 2 months. The audit covers the Child Care and Development Fund, a $770 million program that's managed by the Department of Children, Youth, and Families.
It makes payments to around 7,400 child care providers in Washington. Daycare fraud has been all over the headlines the last few weeks, including here in Seattle.
And tonight we have team coverage. National correspondent Christine Frizzell is standing by with a growing federal investigation into allegations of fraud in Minnesota.
But we begin with KOMO senior reporter Chris Daniels, who sat down with Seattle's new mayor, Katie Wilson, and asked whether she believes there is any evidence of wrongdoing. He joins us now with more. Chris?
Yeah, Wilson, in her first day in office, made a social media post defending the city's Somali community, and now, after a full week in office, she discussed her initial response. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson, in her first public comments since influencers posted video outside Seattle area daycare centers alleging fraud, says she is working to protect the providers. What have you done in those regards?
So we're working on that. So we have conversations going on with the departments. And yeah, it's just, I don't think it needs to be explained why it's problematic to have random people showing up to daycares. And
The thing that you can tell that Katie Wilson is not going to be a great mayor. She's only been there. How does she know about the extent of the fraud, if there's fraud or not? You don't know. You have no idea. You saw people who were dark-skinned, I guess you're saying, being harassed, and you want to say something to make it look good for the people that support you, your base. That's an ineffective leader. If you've only been there a week, you have no idea what's going on. You just learned the job. Remember, this person wasn't even taking care of herself until she got this job. So she's only been a week where she's able to pay her own bills, not have her parents take care of her, even though she's a 40-year-old woman. You don't know what's going on. You have
How these
no
type of people?
idea the extent.
How these type of people get to become head of shit?
You saw a few videos there that probably did not look good. We'll show one in a minute. That there's issues happening in this situation. So the idea that you want to protect the providers, what will protect the taxpayers? But this is why I think Seattle is going to have a pretty terrible 4 years. This is the level of ineffective, emotional leadership that doesn't really help anything, just makes things worse.
Yeah, I think the fear of the Somali community is real. The fear in immigrant communities are real, so we're taking that very seriously.
Wilson, who's been on the job for a week, says she's not convinced there is more to the story. On Tuesday, former longtime state auditor and Democrat Brian Sontag said he's seen enough to believe an audit of state funding of daycare centers is necessary, given allegations in Minnesota, Ohio, and Washington.
Well, there are questions, and I'm not saying they aren't answerable, but you don't know until you get the answers.
Along those lines, to be asking when to follow up on the fraud claims into the Department of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs, or SB.
Yeah.
So there's, as far as you're concerned right now, there's no reason to suggest there's any sort of fraud.
This whole issue is not really about fraud, right? It's about dividing and conquering. It's about making an immigrant community a target, right? There's no reason to assume, based on the identity of a daycare operator, that their small business is doing anything wrong.
You see their emotional reaction that she put there. She's upset. She's already upset. And that's usually what happens when you have someone who is emotional instead of logical. They don't usually come up with the best answers, the best explanations. So when the mayor says this isn't really about fraud, before any investigation, they're not being cautious. They're being dismissive. And that's what bothers me. And that's what bothers a lot of people. No one said the fraud definitely happened. No one said that every daycare did something wrong. All people are asking for is to look and audit, looking at the paperwork, looking at the receipts, looking at the numbers. That is not an accusation. That is just basic adult responsibility. And the wild part about all this is, if there's no fraud, an audit actually protects honest daycare workers. It clears their names. It shuts everyone up. But when leadership even refuses to check, now people will start asking worse questions. This is where optics takes over reality. Katie Wilson is framing this as some kind of moral issue instead of a management issue. And those are not the same thing. You can care about immigrant communities and still verify where taxpayer money goes. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. Those two things are not enemies. They're supposed to work together because we've seen this movie already. In Minnesota, leaders said the same things. Don't question anything. Be careful how this looks. Let's not jump to conclusions. And years later, millions of dollars are gone, whistleblowers were ignored, and programs blew up. So when you hear this isn't really about fraud, all I hear is, I don't want to open up this box. And when you don't open this box early, someone else opens it later, and it always gets uglier. Too much attention is in Minnesota, so I probably shouldn't open up a fraudulent operation there, but Washington looks pretty good because they're not checking. Let me go there. That becomes the next tourism for fraud. And of course it'll be a tourism fraud. She just said it. I'm not going to direct anyone to investigate this further. So this is inaction. This helps people. If you're currently doing fraud in Washington, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about it.
My decoy died went to Aisha Home Child Care in Kent, Washington. She got inside. A corresponding page for Aisha Home Child Care on the state expenditure website indicates that this place has raked in $753,053 since 2022. We matched the address and business card given to us with records for Aisha Home Child Care on the Department of Children and Families website for Washington State. The DCYF indicates this place only serves 2 children. Their licensed capacity is 12, and they have 10 available slots, reflecting this place only babysits 2 kids. But they're raking in $753,000? Even if this was, let's assume for a second, a legitimate daycare business that's only serving 2 children, there is no world where the government should be giving almost $1 million or $750,000 in subsidies to this place. On the inside, Mike DuPoy did see children. If this could potentially be a legitimate daycare business, why is the government giving them so much money, even if they were a legitimate daycare business? I mean, you look at the first figure, $268,460 since July of 2025. If we're being generous for 2 kids, that's $22,371 per child. What daycare makes this kind of money per kid in 1 month?
And if you are a mayor of a major city, inaction is a decision. This isn't a random situation here. This is a state auditor reviewing a $770 million program. That is public taxpayer money. It's federal money. It's everybody's money. This is where I don't believe that Katie Wilson is going to be a responsible leader. Because it doesn't look like this. Responsible leadership looks like you don't panic, you don't accuse, but you verify. Instead, what we're seeing here is the fear of backlash, the fear of headlines, the fear of being called names. And again, we already saw how this ends. Tim Walz didn't aggressively act early either. Warnings sat on desks, whistleblowers were brushed off, people were told to stop asking questions. Then you see what's going on now with Congress hearings, national embarrassment. The man just lost his entire political career, and funding cuts that hurt the very people these leaders claim to protect. That is really sad irony. When you ignore possible fraud to protect the community's image, you actually put the community at more risk later. Because once the fraud becomes undeniable, Washington doesn't negotiate. They cut checks, they cut programs.
Sontag said these are investigations that can take months or years. Wilson again saying she has not directed anyone on this particular matter in her first week to investigate further.
Christian, did the mayor say anything about working with the federal government?
Yeah, especially today when there's so much discussion about ICE and what we've seen in Minnesota. I did ask her about that. I asked whether she has reached out to President Trump. She said, in fact, that she has done that. She's waiting to hear back.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
That brings us to our Cummo Pulse poll. Scan the QR code on screen to participate. Tonight we're asking, should an independent auditor be appointed to investigate potential fraud in our daycare system? Here's a live look at the results. Right now, most people responding. 97% say yes, just 3% say no.
So you see right there, even the people who are watching this program and went on this website to do a poll understand that there should be some more investigation. So you can tell she's going to start to lose these people because they don't know what she's talking about. She said, oh, there's no reason to assume based on the identity of the daycare operator that their small business is doing anything wrong. That is classic bait and switch. Nobody said that identity equals guilt. Literally no one. That's the trick here. They took a question about money and turned it into a question about morality. And once you do that, real oversight dies. Let me say this clearly. Audits do not assume guilt. Audits assume nothing. They exist because systems are failing. People cheat. Some people lie on paperwork, and it doesn't matter. That's why audits exist in every serious organization on earth. When a mayor frames scrutiny as an attack on identity, it shuts down discussions. It freezes action. And it sends a message, please don't ask questions, and that's what really hurts these communities. And that's why the agency had their strong words to say about, I guess, influencers or independent journalists, which is always a problem if you see a government trying to stop independent reporting.
Now, Washington Attorney General Nick Brown says daycares run by Somalis in Washington are being harassed. Brown says the daycares are being targeted by, quote, unsubstantiated claims of fraud. He says, quote, showing up on someone's porch, threatening or harassing them isn't an investigation. Neither is filming minors who may be in the home. This is unsafe and potentially dangerous behavior. This all stems from allegations of fraud at Somali-run daycares in Minnesota. The Trump administration froze all child care funds to the state in response.
Take a look at that. That's a problem because they're really attacking the messages instead of answering the claims. They're just saying, well, these are influencers, it's viral videos, it's just social media. The problem is the questions never came from YouTube or X. They came from auditors. They came from whistleblowers. They came from other states where fraud was proven in court. There's people in jail right now due to this situation. So pointing at influencers is always a distraction. They can talk about Nick Shirley, they can talk about other people. And also, you can criticize the style, you can criticize his methods, but videos didn't trigger Congress hearings. The evidence did. If leadership acted early, if the audits were apparent, if concerns were addressed head-on, those videos wouldn't have gone nowhere. When you have this type of silence, it creates a vacuum, and the vacuum creates speculation, and then the speculation creates the outrage. So here we are right now. Transparency is not racism. Audits are not attacks, and asking questions is not hate. If everything is clean, an audit should prove it. If something isn't, ignoring it just makes it worse. This is not even ideology, it's just reality. And seeing how Katie Wilson is going to run things, it's just going to be more problems for the state of Seattle. And unfortunately, they voted for the problem. So it is what it is. But let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch the video. I'll ask you guys in this video.
Welcome back. Now, revolution underway in Iran. Massive protests against Ayatollah Khomeini and its brutal regime are persisting in Iran, as Iranian citizens take to the streets over its failed economy and skyrocketing inflation, up 50%. Food prices surging more than 70%. President Trump has warned Khomeini there will be severe consequences if protesters are killed. But the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Iran is threatening to strike U.S. military bases in the Middle East if the U.S. tries to take down the Iranian regime. Here's the president on Friday.
Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts.
As protesters ramped up on Thursday, the Ayatollah dug in by cutting all internet service and international calls inside the country. The internet has been out for 60 hours so far, with Iranian officials also trying to jam up Elon Musk's Skylink to further isolate the country. As protesters have heeded the call from my next guest, the exiled Crown Prince of Iran, His Royal Highness Reza Pahlavi, called on the people to mobilize and take to the streets against the authoritarian government. Demonstrators called for Pahlavi to return and to lead Iran. Pahlavi's father, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, was Shah of Iran from 1941 until 1979, overseeing key modernization initiatives in the country with close ties to both the United States and to Israel, until the extremists and the terrorists overwhelmed the monarchy, forcing the Shah and his wife, Empress Farah Pahlavi, to flee, and the Ayatollah to return from exile. Iran then shifted overnight from a U.S. allied monarchy to an anti-Western Islamic regime, soon to become the largest state sponsor of terrorism, funding Hezbollah and Hamas, among other groups. President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio posting this weekend on social media that the U.S. stands with the people of Iran, with the president writing this is not the Obama administration when it comes to standing up to the Iranian Ayatollah and his religious Nazi henchmen, and standing behind the people of Iran protesting for a better life. The president retweeted that tweet from Lindsey Graham, who will be joining me momentarily. To the regime leadership, Graham wrote, your brutality against the great people of Iran will not go unchallenged. Joining us is Sunday Morning Futures exclusive. In the middle of these calls to return to power and free the people is His Royal Highness, the exiled Crown Prince of Iran, Reza Pahlavi. Your Highness, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Good morning, Maria.
We have seen other times when the people have risen up, but it feels different this time. You called for the people to mobilize for 2 straight nights this week. Does it feel different? Assess for us what is taking place this weekend in Iran.
Maria, to put it into perspective, in the last 48 hours, Iranians have suffered more casualties than America did after the 9/11 attack. This is a moment that is defining. Despite being completely cut off from the world, internet shut down, and for a regime that is massacring its own people, this is an opportunity to liberate that nation. Remember, the same thugs that hate America also hate their own people. And this is an opportunity to help a nation that starts for liberty, that starts to be rejoined with the free world, and to have the same relationship that we had with America before this revolution occurred, to liberate ourselves and come back to the fold and contribute to world peace and stability regionally and beyond.
Now, Your Highness, you have called for the opportunity to become the transitional leader. You've said many times with me on this program, you are hoping to be a transitional leader. What is your plan in that transition? What would the first 100 days look like? Because we know that these protests are economic in nature. They are about food and life and democracy second.
Maria, I'm a fighter pilot. I've trained all my life for exactly this moment, and people are calling on me to step in and lead this transition. I'm here to lead and help our nation go through that transition. But beyond liberation...
How you doing?
Hey, I'm all right. Where you at?
Well,
Okay, how you feeling?
had to cut my video off. He,
Oh, okay. What kind of video you was watching?
no, I was on videotaping them where people rising up against people that's treating them bad, the government and shit, all over the place. They rising up because people realizing that it's a certain amount of motherfuckers living it up, and you struggling.
Man, I don't know. The world is just crazy, man. So
It's
just
not really, it's not really
gotta
crazy,
keep
boo.
putting out positive vibrations,
You heard me, boo boo?
good things, and healthy. I heard you.
Yeah.
The phone might cut off because I'm coming from my boy, and
Oh, okay.
I'm in the.
You coming to him or you going from him?
Coming from him.
Oh, so you're on your way home?
I'm on my way home now. Yeah.
Oh, if it cut off, then you better call me when you get home or something like that.
No, I'm cool. I'm
Okay.
calling you now. You could cut off, but
Yeah. But no, what I was just saying though, because I heard you say it's crazy. Because you ain't crazy. See what I'm saying?
No,
It's just
I'm not.
all right. It's just people that's crazy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm just talking about in the world.
Yeah.
That's the people that's crazy.
But I just want to make sure that because the world ain't crazy. The world here for us to have fun on.
Right.
Shit, these people got it crazy, so we fucked up with them because they crazy and got us kind of cuckoo because of them. For real, because you coming to your senses now. You dig all a lot of people got to do is come to their senses like you are, and then you're going to see what matters and what don't.
Right.
Shit. Because truth is all we got. That's why truth is literally self-explanatory.
Right. I had a good weekend. I got jury duty tomorrow. I don't know. I got a knot in my stomach. I'm nervous. I'm weird. I mean, I went before. I didn't serve, but I went. And I'm just
I'm like, if you had a good weekend with this dude to the point where y'all got some shit accomplished in y'all brain.
We got a lot, period.
Oh, nigga, you shouldn't have no fucking butterflies in your fucking stomach. Nigga. Shit. Cause I'm trying to tell you, your job is really your hang up if you really want to go out there.
Is. Oh, I know.
You got me.
I went to sleep, work was on my mind. I woke up, work on my mind. He was like, what the hell? He said, calm down. He said, baby, he said, you can't let that, take control of you and let your supervisor, win over you and, so, yeah. But, I was thinking about work and because I still had some stuff I was working on. And if I was to get selected, which I'm not because I know what to tell them, but get selected with this jury, I mean, I would like to not be at work for 2 days, but.
Wouldn't everybody like school? Keep going.
But,
just like school. Don't want to go there, they want to go to work. But yeah.
But, there's some work that I got done. So I gotta, when I go home, I mean, I got it in order. I just gotta scan. I gotta do a spreadsheet. I gotta really do that spreadsheet because I'm gonna have to give it to, and take it however it comes. I thought about the man. Okay, so it was a good weekend. I'm about to say I thought about the man, and he's a supervisor over housekeeping. I remember he came to me and told me she must have jumped all over the place. I don't know, but anyway, he just, I don't know what prompted him to tell me this, but he said, if ever I need a job, I can always come work with him. I don't know if because he like black women. I don't know if it's because I'm kind of, you there, Jay?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's because he might see me attractive, but, he was like, if I ever I need a job, I can come work with him. He said, I can't pay you what you make, but, so I thought she might have had conversation because he's a supervisor and they usually do these meetings. So I was like, I don't know what she said. But anyway, so, I was like, and that's a state job. I still got to do, I think, still another year and a half or whatever. So to be fully vested to get retirement money. So I got to make sure I still stay on with the state to do that. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going up in these trees, I want to make sure, But, so I thought about that. I said, well, you just take a pay cut and go ahead on work over there. Because peace of mind, when you stress out, because I said, once I'm not in that department no more, I'm going to look younger. I'm going to feel better, energy, vibration, everything's going to be better. Even though, I got these bills, but I'd be better at ease.
I told you, once you get there to just focus a little, just a little. You start to see, you start seeing the pictures of what you want to do better.
Right, that's true. And then my girl called me. Oh, that fucking snake.
Where is that?
in the street, a big thick one, curled, rolled up like. Wow, that messed me up. Woo. But anyway, um, then my girlfriend called and she said, "Hey," she said, "I talked to one of your girls today." I said, "Who?" And she said who it was. And I said, "Yeah, girl, that's my girl. She be looking out for me and this, that, and other, this, that, and other." She gave me some swag. I said, "Yeah, she always give me swag, cups and things like that." You know, she was telling me that she had gave her one, this, that, and other. You know, they chit-chatted and yep. So my girl gonna try to look out. Well, she said she is going to look out for me. And, you know, it's more to that, but I'll give you more conversation on that. You know, at another time, later, whatever. But I was like, okay, so that made me feel good. And then she was telling me, you know, my girl was saying she want to get from under the supervisor. She just gave me a whole bunch of backfield information about what's going on around there and stuff like that. It's a lot of shit.
I told you, bro. A lot of shit going on right now.
It is.
Especially dealing with the government
It
and
is.
government working with dealing with that motherfucker Miana, that money Muno, that money ain't that much. Cause see, like I said before, being $37 trillion in debt, and then me and you looking at how we struggling. Come on, now, the average person is saying to themselves, "Wait a minute, these people got Mercedes Benz businesses and making all this money and shit. Then got a whole state almost to themselves. Wait, whoa. How is this working for them and it ain't working for me? And I didn't work here all my motherfucking life and came to get a Mercedes Benz." I'm trying to tell you, people started to come to that conclusion and say, what the hell? Wait. We starting to put two and two together and they ain't making four. Because somebody getting 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, and I'm just left with 4. And they taking one away from that and knocking me with 3. Trying to get 2, having me with just 1. But they trying to end up having me with 0. Shit, we all own nothing.
Yeah.
Shit. And that's their whole little thing now. Right there. They want your ass renting everything, owning nothing. But they got everything tied up in their businesses. Ain't that something? Got everything tied up in their businesses now. Yeah, they don't own nothing either though, but they own their business. Got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm calling the little funky ass gang. These funky fuckers is running on us. Shit, just that you can't make nobody see what they don't want to see. All you can do is tell them and then keep it moving because see when they go later on, they talking about, well, ain't no bitch stop line. Shit. That's how you do it, huh? Shit. So they lay up there and say, well, I ain't no bitch. I told you almost 7 years ago talking that bullshit about you don't know. Shut the fuck up. That shit. You ain't want no then. Now you want to know now. Now you gonna act like you didn't know then. See, I knew you knew then. You was acting like you didn't know. You didn't want to be responsible for knowing it then. Because you were getting too much dirt doing the shit that you was getting away with. Oh, I know about it. Once you done been through some shit and you done been part of some shit, you gotta realize why you done got the shit where you at.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you, everything didn't work out for me because if it would have, I wouldn't be able to realize everything I did better. See? So now it's gonna work out real good now, shit. Now that I know the why, you see, the why I'm still alive in the first place, because I'm born a motherfucking winner, and I ain't gonna give up on the truth that's already in me. Never that.
Yeah.
Never that. Never that. Especially what? Give up on the person that I first saw the truth but didn't know what it was when I first saw it on the back of her. Shit. Give up on that? Nigga, shit. That changed me then to be here now. Hello? Shit. I'm trying to tell you. Thank you for being that's an understatement. That's an understatement. Yes, I said that's an understatement. Shit. But again, you changed my motherfucking life, not for just being a fucking friend. Fuck all the bullshit. Gave me that with the kid, gave me stability. See, because I wanted to live and do the family orientated shit. Yes. The man coming home, bringing the bread and butter home, making it better because he ain't alone. Two is always better than one. Yeah, boy. Again, truth is all we got. Realize that. Know that. Can't play with that. I'm just saying. It's 30 minutes